Detective Sarah Miller stood at the entrance of St. Patrick's Church, staring at the unusual scene before her. The bride lay motionless on the altar steps, her black wedding dress spread around her like spilled ink on the white marble floor. This was definitely not your typical wedding. "What do we know so far?" Sarah asked Officer Roberts, who was already on the scene. "The bride's name is Emma Watson, 28 years old. She was found unconscious here, just minutes before the ceremony was supposed to start. She's alive, but barely breathing. Paramedics are taking her to the hospital now," Roberts explained, pointing to the ambulance outside. Sarah walked around the altar, her trained eyes scanning every detail. Something wasn't right about this scene. Who wears a black wedding dress? And more importantly, who would want to harm a bride on her wedding day? "Where's the groom?" Sarah asked. "James Harrison, 35, successful businessman. He's in the church office, completely shaken up. Says he has no idea what happened." They found a half-empty cup of coffee next to the bride's dressing room. "Initial tests show it was poisoned." Sarah nodded, her mind already piecing together the puzzle. "I want to talk to everyone who was in the church this morning. Start with the wedding party." The interviews revealed an interesting pattern. The maid of honor, Lisa Chen, Emma's best friend since college, was nervously fidgeting throughout her statement. The wedding planner mentioned seeing Lisa around the bride's dressing room multiple times that morning, including near the time the coffee was delivered. But it was the conversation with the groom's sister, Margaret Harrison, that really caught Sarah's attention. Emma insisted on wearing black, said it was fashionable, modern. "But I know the real reason," Margaret said, her voice bitter. "She was mocking our family tradition. For 5 generations, every Harrison bride has worn our grandmother's vintage white lace dress. But Emma, she said it was outdated and not her style." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "That seems like a strong reaction to a dress choice. You don't understand. In our family, traditions matter. That dress symbolizes everything we stand for. Emma never tried to fit in. She just wanted James's money." The detective made a note, but something still didn't add up. The poison in the coffee was amateur work, easily detectable, not likely to be fatal. If someone really wanted to harm Emma, they could have done much worse. Sarah returned to the bride's dressing room. The coffee cup was still there, marked as evidence. Next to it, a small makeup bag lay open, its contents scattered across the vanity table. Among the lipsticks and brushes, something caught her eye, a small empty vial. "Get me the hospital report," Sarah called to Officer Roberts. When the report arrived, Sarah's suspicions were confirmed. The substance in Emma's system wasn't just poison. It was a combination of chemicals commonly found in theatrical special effects makeup, mixed with a mild sedative. Sarah gathered everyone in the church's main hall, the groom, his sister, the maid of honor, and the wedding planner. It was time to reveal the truth. "This wasn't attempted murder," Sarah announced. "This was staged." "Wasn't it, Emma?" On cue, Emma walked into the church, very much alive and steady on her feet. The gathered crowd gasped. "How did you know?" Emma asked, a slight smile on her face. The black dress was the first clue. It was theatrical, chosen to create drama. "The poison was never meant to kill you, just make you appear unconscious. You wanted everyone to think someone tried to murder you because of the dress controversy. Your plan was to frame Margaret, making it look like she was so upset about the broken tradition that she tried to harm you." Sarah turned to the maid of honor. "But Lisa here helped you plan it, didn't she?" That's why she was so nervous during questioning. The multiple trips to your dressing room were to help set up the scene. Emma's smile faded. You don't understand. I loved James, but his family's suffocating traditions were destroying our relationship. Margaret made my life hell over a dress. I just wanted them to see how ridiculous they were being. By faking your own attempted murder? James stepped forward, his face a mask of hurt and anger. We're done, Emma. I can't marry someone who would do something like this. As James walked out of the church, followed by a triumphant-looking Margaret, Emma sank into a pew, her black dress pooling around her. The wedding was off, and her plan had backfired spectacularly. Sarah watched as the church emptied. In her years as a detective, she'd seen all sorts of crimes, but this was a first bride, so desperate to make a point about a wedding dress that she orchestrated her own fake poisoning. Book them for filing a false police report, Sarah instructed Officer Roberts, pointing to Emma and Lisa. And make sure the DA knows about all the resources wasted on this investigation. As Sarah left the church, she couldn't help but smile at the irony. The bride had worn black, not for fashion, but as a symbol of her own deception. In trying to break free from old traditions, she had created a scandal that would become a new kind of family legend, the tale of the bride who wore black and staged her own crime, only to lose everything she really wanted.